All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er Saturday update video. Check out Pig in a Pickle, two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And this video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. I'm loving Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description and use the promo code KRUG KRUEG, and they will match you up to your first $100. This week in Underdog Fantasy, I'm saying Brock Purdy lower than 68.3% completion percentage, Kenneth Gainwell higher than 11.5 rushing yards, George Kittle higher than 45.5 receiving yards, Javon Hargrave higher than a half a sack, and Deebo Samuel higher than 11.5 rushing yards. All right, let's talk about some of the late breaking stories. It looks like the rain is going to subside before the game. The rain is expected to hit in the middle of the day and should be well gone by the time the 49ers and Eagles kick off. Now it's a 1:25 West Coast start, 4:25 East Coast start. Midday rain anticipated in the midday in the Eastern time zone. So the rain, according to the reports that I'm reading, is going to subside before game time. That should be an advantage for the 49ers because they want to throw the ball around with Brock Purdy against the Eagles' challenged pass defense. Now, the 49ers made a couple roster moves on Saturday, promoting safety Erik Harris to the active roster from the practice squad, and as well as Erik Harris, Chris Conley, the veteran wide receiver, also promoted to active for Sunday's game against the Eagles. Harris is an interesting story. He's a guy who, played Division III ball in the state of Pennsylvania at California University in Pennsylvania. Then gave up football for a year, was working at a potato chip factory, was driving a UPS truck, got an opportunity with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Canadian League, parlayed that into an NFL deal or two, signed a contract with the Raiders. He most recently was with the Atlanta Falcons. He was on all their coverage units on special teams. For the 49ers, they lose George Odom with a torn bicep and Talanoa Hufanga with the torn ACL. So they needed safety help, and they signed the veteran Erik Harris, who's very athletic, good size, in his early 30s, and he will be one of their backup safeties, as well as Taylor Hawkins off the Niners practice squad. And the Niners also, as we said, promoted wide receiver Chris Conley to the active roster. Conley's a big, fast wide receiver who can run, roughly 4.3 in the 40. It'll be interesting to see if he is actually active on game day. Well, according to a story that I just read on Niners Nation, 75% of the 49er fans that were polled believe that the Niners need a win Sunday to make a statement, that they need this win to make a statement. Now, a win by the 49ers doesn't guarantee that they'll have home field throughout the playoffs. A loss by the 49ers almost guarantees that they will not have home field, at least when it comes to the Eagles or them in the NFC playoffs. So 49ers need a win, and then they're going to need to run the table and see Philadelphia lose again before they'll have a chance to host the NFC Championship game and have that number one seed in the first round bye, which only goes to one team per conference. As far as injuries, Arik Armstead is still listed as questionable with the foot injury. He told us on Thursday that he will play on Sunday. Jordan Mason's got a hamstring injury. He's questionable. Ray McLeod with a rib injury. He's questionable. Very interesting on the Eagles front. Lane Johnson was a full participant in Friday's practice, so he's expected to go at offensive tackle. Dallas Goedert, who's got a broken forearm, did practice for the first time since week 9 when he hurt the forearm, and he's still listed as doubtful for Sunday against the 49ers. Fletcher Cox is battling a groin injury, which he suffered against Buffalo. He's listed as questionable. Zach Cunningham has a hamstring injury. I should say Fletcher Cox, Cunningham, and Justin Evans all considered to be out. We'll see about Cox, though, because I think there was some debate whether or not his status will be questionable or out on game day, but we don't expect Zach Cunningham, their inside linebacker, to play, or Justin Evans, one of their special teamers, to play. Evans is battling a knee injury, Cunningham a hamstring injury. Milton Williams did practice all week. Williams did not play last week against Buffalo due to a concussion injury, but he is expected to play this week, and he gives Philadelphia some outstanding depth along that defensive line. Kyle Shanahan indicated that the 49ers were not one of the teams that placed a waiver claim on Zach Ertz. In fact, Ertz was not claimed by anybody off waivers, and that's not really a surprise because he had an $11.6 million cap hit. You'd have to pick up the prorated portion of that, which would be roughly $2.6 million, and be on the hook for his salary cap number next year. And so he clears waivers, goes unclaimed by any team on waivers, and now it is up to Ertz as to where he wants to play. Adam Schefter is reporting that the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills are all showing a lot of interest in Ertz. 49ers have not been mentioned. I don't know their status, if they're interested in the Monta Vista grad or not. The Eagles have not been mentioned, which is surprising considering Dallas Goedert is banged up and Ertz has played his entire career in Philadelphia. There may have been some bad blood between Ertz's agent and Howie Roseman in how things ended for Ertz in Philadelphia as far as his contract was concerned. So very interesting. I don't think Ertz is going to play this weekend. Baltimore needs him because they lost Mark Andrews. Kansas City needs him just because they may go to more 2 tight end sets if they added him with him and Travis Kelce and take that wide receiver group, at least one of them, off the field. The Chiefs have gotten very disappointing performances from their wide receivers. And then Buffalo's interesting. They have Dalton Kincaid, a rookie tight end from Utah. Maybe they feel like they just want another weapon in Ertz. I personally think the 49ers could use him. I think he's an upgrade over Ross Dwelly. And I think the 49ers really haven't had a dangerous, reliable passing twosome at tight end since they had Jordan Reed and George Kittle together in the 2020 season. One other note of significance, and that is that Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, according to the Athletic's Diana Rossini, she's reporting that Goodell wants to permanently ban the tush push, which became legal as recently as 2005. It's been in vogue recently in the NFL because of the Eagles' success. And this is not surprising. It's not surprising on a lot of fronts. One, the tush push results in helmet-to-helmet contact often on multiple players and sometimes even the quarterback. The NFL does not want to see more head-to-head hits. They want to see fewer. That part's abundantly clear. The other thing that I think is a concern is how effective this play really is. What if suddenly, if you have the play in, legal, then it puts a lot of pressure on the officials to know when exactly to blow the whistle. And it just creates a lot of questionable calls. You don't want to see players going head to head. That's one. You don't want to see a call that's so difficult to officiate that it always results in a controversy. And I think overall, the most important aspect of this is that the Eagles are having a lot of success with it, to the point where sometimes after a second and a third surge, they're getting as many as 3.5 yards. If they get one more half yard and decided to go with it for any extended period of time, this would be a disaster as far as the NFL is concerned, because it's a terrible looking play. It's basically a quarterback sneak. It's the equivalent of a rugby scrum. It potentially causes serious injuries to some of the most valuable players. But also, what if a team perfected it and got 4 yards an attempt, and then decided to go no huddle and run it on first down, second down, third down? We'll go for it on fourth down, and they're getting roughly 3 to 4 yards per attempt. Now you could move the ball all the way down the field with the tush push if you wanted. So that's nothing the NFL wants. The NFL wants no part of that because that is a terrible product to watch. And the last thing they want to do is be advocates for any kind of a terrible television product, which is what the Tush Push ultimately is. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.